Trying to get Kuro back towards the fountain. The avalanche is there. Zipfon Miracle. He gets the two of them. The focus by GH. He's got the right click damage, but Tims, he's got the double. The magical's enough. Zip across. Torre catching them out. Miracle continue to lay down the remnants. They've killed off AU. Kuku goes with the bar straight. They've killed GH. There's a dieback on the CM. The carry is down. Tims is cleaning up. Ultra kills there. Only Miracle and we are left alive. This should be TNC able to shut the game down.
Hello, it's Torte de Lini. So when it comes to succeeding with Skywrath Mage, take advantage of your major damaging early game magic spells to establish a strong momentum in the mid game that will then give your team a net worth lead when trying to close out the match during the late game. It's pretty much the summation of what makes Skywrath tick. From an instant cast point silence that amplifies magic damage taken to a long range slow, Skywrath Mage is honestly one of the highest damage dealers as a support or even as a core in the game. Skywrath Mage is about obliterating dominating enemies with great magic burst damage from an incredible range. Skywrath Mage is a popular position for a support hero because he can easily set up kills with a core strong offlaner while providing, again, great spell damage. With that kind of output, Skywrath Mage makes enemy safe laners pretty uncomfortable staying in the lane and unable to deal with that level of magical onslaught without having to spend on items that give magic resistance or at least additional health. This kind of damage on the support hero makes Skywrath Mage a good choice for lineups with a lot of, setup or initiation so that he can safely deal his magic damage as a follow-up. Heroes like, Legion Commander or Primal Beast or Faceless Void are great for holding enemies in place for the full duration of Skywrath's ultimate ability, Mystic Flare. Because his Ancient Seal is an instant silencing ability, Skywrath Mage can be great to catch enemies out like Lifestealer, Enchantress, Morphling's also a good target, and Skywrath can punish them before they can even react or respond. You have to be careful though that as the match progresses, Skywrath's output can be dealt with through items like Black King Bar, Lotus Orb, or even Manta Style to kind of rid his silencing debuff. Also there are heroes that can close the gap on him like Lone Druid, Anti-Mage, and Huskar, as well as heroes that kind of deter Skywrath from casting his abilities like Pugna and his Nether Ward. These are issues that can be difficult for Skywrath Mage to overcome, so make sure you pick Skywrath against the right lineup. Also concerning is that Skywrath is not built around defensiveness or farming, but rather a momentum-based strategy is required to maximize the value of Skywrath Mage. The hero farms pretty poorly and is more about ganking for kills than passively farming the jungle with his high-cost mana spells. Laning stage. Before the match starts, pick up some starting items like Iron Branches, 2 sets of Tangos, a Blood Grenade, and a Circlet, which will be built later on into the Null Talisman. Skywrath Mage is an offensive support hero in the lane that looks to kind of whittle down opponents so they can be nuked by his spells after an initiation from your partner offlane. Skywrath Mage has the 7th highest attack range in the game, making this early game right-click harassment feasible with your initial Iron Branches and Circlet. This value lends Skywrath Mage to routinely poke his opponents to keep enemies anxious of the potential kill threat from your offlane team. The Tangos are to make trading hits with your opponent more comfortable, while the Blood Grenade is for a bit of extra health and a nice follow-up to your initiating slow and silence when trying to secure a kill. As a position 4 offlane support, your goal is to deter the safe lane carry from free farming and create opportunity for your offlaner to potentially secure a kill. Actions like pulling your creep wave helps reset the lane so the next wave of creeps meets more towards your tower, causing this enemy safe laner to be placed in a scary position. Either they can riskily try to farm far away from the tower, or miss out on the free golden farm until their own support tries to re-establish or restabilize the lane by pulling their own easy camp. Now, by blocking the enemy camp easily with a sentry ward, you can help ensure that the lane is always in positional favor for your team and thus increase the potential kill threat should the enemy carry try to farm that lane. Furthermore, grabbing the Lotus at the Lotus pool every 3 minutes means more mana and health regen for your offlaning team, which creates more opportunity for you to try and go for, again, a potential kill on the enemy carry or even support. You should be at these Lotus pools before the minute drops so you can guarantee being the one who gets those Lotuses and you don't miss out on free regeneration. This is especially true given how mana intensive Skywrath spells are. Now also don't forget about the Wisdom Rune at every 7 minutes, so you should be there on the minute. With your offlaner, you can easily set up kills with Ancient Seal and Concussive Shot. Heroes like Mars, Razor, or Centaur Roadrunner can follow up from your Concussive Shot slow and Ancient Seal Silence and Magic Damage Amplification to chain stun and finish off enemies who are caught in the slow and cannot escape due to your silence. If need be, you also have your nuking ability Arcane Bolt to chase enemies who might have gotten away, as that spell cannot be evaded or disjointed, and pairs well with your Blood Grenade to keep enemies slowed for just a bit longer as you deplete your mana pool with magic damage output. When you're not trying to secure a kill, Skywrath Mage relies on Concussive Shot to slow the enemy so he can harass them with his physical attack. Since Skywrath Mage has one of the highest movement speed in the game, and as well as an incredible attack range, your slow from Concussive Shot can punish enemies who might be out of position or allow you to close the gap on them given its range and your speed. If you're fleeing from an enemy's attack, Concussive Shot doesn't require you to turn around to cast it, so you're free to use it to deter enemies from reaching you, only for you to then turn around, maybe get a few attacks in before they get out of range. One of your first purchases for Skywrath Mage is a Null Talisman. Null Talisman not only builds from the circlet you bought earlier, but gives you a bit more mana regeneration and a larger mana pool, which is much needed for Skywrath to be able to regularly output his abilities throughout the laning stage. An early boost of speed into Arcane Boots continues that trend of continuously needing mana for the hero. So much so, we typically buy a magic one after Arcane Boots, unless the enemy lane is especially spammy with magic spells, because that would mean you would get a large stack of charges to your magic one, and thus a bit more mana back to you, so you could be more liberal with your spell usage early in the match. Now in terms of skill build, you're going to max out Concussive Shot as the mana cost is not that significant, but it slows your target and deals nuke damage from an incredible range compared to your other spells. Concussive Shot doesn't function like most targeted abilities, it automatically hones in on the nearest enemy to Skywrath within its massive range. This means that your position relative to your offlaner can be more forgiving since your slow will reach your target nonetheless. To add, we're grabbing a point in Arcane Bolt to help secure last hits on range creeps that your offlaner can't reach before the enemy denies it, but also Arcane Bolt does incredible damage when paired with your most important spell, Ancient Seal, which we also grab a point in before level 6. Arcane Bolt requires a lot of mana to regularly use, given its low cooldown and high damage, so we can't max out just yet first. And Ancient Seal honestly provides incredible value from its first level, making Concussive Shot a much higher priority to max out alongside. Mid-game. Because Skywrath Mage has such a reliable long-range slow, you can regularly rotate to the mid lane to set up kills if your mid laner is capable of capitalizing on your safe initiation. That strong movement speed also means you can help secure water and power runes for your mid laner. So even before the mid game, if your offlaner seems okay and the lane is pretty uneventful, you can check in on the mid lane for any opportunities, since your Concussive Shot is a fantastic long range, no risk slow, or you can even rotate to the safe lane if there's opportunity. If you haven't had the chance to start rotating during the lane stage, well, now you can try it out with a Smoke of Deceit once your offlane core has secured the lane, either by taking a tower or the enemy safe laner has pretty much left it. As mentioned, Skywrath Mage has a great long range slow to initiate, but make sure that your team is near enough from the target to follow through and take advantage of your Concussive Shot. Additionally, if playing against enemies who have very easy escape mechanisms like Weaver Shikuchi, it's probably best to let someone with a stun debuff go in first, or you may need to get closer to be able to cast your Ancient Seal's Silence to ensure that the hero can't get away. As momentum of kills start to settle down, use that opportunity to stack Ancient and Jungle Camp with your Arcane Bolt for your core allied heroes. Always be on the lookout for overextended enemies that you buzz off with your abilities, or even kill with Ancient Seal into Mystic Flare, and keep a Town Portal scroll on the ready so you can join allies who want to take advantage of their new item or power spike timing. Make sure to ward offensively so your team can spot potential targets, and deward either defensively or enemy defensive wards so they can't see you ganking. Your spell combination for Skywrath Mage is simple. 1. Cast Ancient Seal on a target. This will silence them and increase all your other magic damage abilities. 2. Immediately use Mystic Flare on the silenced enemy. Then activate Concussive Shot so they stay within your Mystic Flare area of effect. And to ensure the enemy is dead, throw in as many Arcane Bolts as you can. For your skill build, we're maxing Ancient Seal second to really enhance your ganking value before maxing Arcane Bolt last. Ancient Seal increases all magical damage taken during its effect, so it really plays well with your team in the mid game as you gank. Arcane Bolt is a great damaging spell, but it's slow, so you won't really get as many hits in on an enemy with it versus the damage you get from an upgraded Ancient Seal with Mystic Flare and Concussive Shot, which all kind of synergize really well together. For talents, your level 10 talent, which we're getting at 11, is the extra health just for some extra survivability, and your level 15 talent is the Ancient Seal cooldown because it's such a massive value and evidently allows you to do more in ganks and fights. As for your item build, after your Arcane Boots and Magic Wand, Rod of Atos is the main item. Not only is the range pretty incredible to catch enemies out like Puck or Windrunner, but it roots the enemy for 2 seconds, allowing you to fully deal the entirety of Mystic Flare ultimate ability. If you do things right, you can cast Ancient Seal on the enemy, Rod of Atos into Mystic Flare to guarantee a kill on most enemies. Besides Rod of Atos, you can consider other items depending who you're up against. If you're dealing with a Clinks, Juggernaut, or Phantom Assassin, be wary that they can close a gap on you, and you may need a Ghost Scepter to just outright avoid their damage, at least for a moment. You're usually casting your spells from very far, so watch your positioning and who you are seeking out. Another item is Yule's Scepter of Divinity, which rid silences or debuffs that can prevent you from dealing your damage output or help you actually avoid damage inflicting effects like Spirit Vessel. Skywrath Mage doesn't have a lot of health, so Glimmer Cape is something you could consider to help reduce the damage you take, disjoint physical attacks, or magic damage, or it could be a means of repositioning without being seen or caught. Evidently, since you play from afar, use it on an ally nearby. Lastly, Force Staff can be good as a pseudo blink dagger for Skywrath Mage, while also being a potential option for the hero to escape or reposition if the battle shifts too close to your positioning. Late game. Come late game, your role will be pretty much how you played throughout the mid game, silencing key targets so they cannot cast their ability, and unloading all your magic damage onto enemies you can reach or targets that your cores are focusing on. During team fights, it's important to watch your positioning because you have no real form of escape if caught out, and you're such an easy target to finish off given your low health. Rely on your Arcane Bolt and Concussive Shot until your or the enemy initiator starts up, then start blowing up enemies who have especially weak health or can't handle being silenced, and just start wailing on them with your Rod of Atos, Ancient Seal, Mystic Flare, and Arcane Bolt. Once completed, reset your positioning at maximum range for your Arcane Bolt and Concussive Shot. Besides Rod of Atos, other items you can consider in the late game mostly revolve around guaranteeing and improving your magic damage. For example, Blink Dagger can be great as a means to jump on unsuspecting enemies to then quickly cast Ancient Seal and Mystic Flare before they can even react. Sometimes you may need Blink Dagger to quickly follow up after an initiation from an Axe or Faceless Void to maximize the crowd control these initiations provide, so you can deal maximum damage. Scythe of Vice is a nice disable to catch enemies out with, so you can land your Ancient Seal and Mystic Flare combo. By the late game, your opponents will be buying Black King Bar to essentially nullify most of your damage output. So Scythe of Vice not only instantly hexes enemies before they can cast that Black King Bar, but its range far exceeds most other item abilities, giving you plenty of time and space to hex the enemy and then moving closer to cast your Ancient Seal and Mystic Flare to destroy the enemy before the hex duration runs out. It combos well with Blink Dagger, so you can blink, hex, Ancient Seal into Mystic Flare. Ethereal Blade is another item that gives you both protection from enemies with Ghost Scepter, as well as additional cast range like Aether Lens, but can also be used to amplify your magic damage output as it pairs well with Ancient Seal and Mystic Flare to really blow enemies up. Lastly, your Ag Scepter is your crown jewel. It effectively doubles your castable abilities to your intended target and another at random with heroes being prioritized. Your Arcane Bolt is also tripled, giving you a lot of value for its mana cost and evidently a huge boon to your magic damage output to all enemies rather than just one. Not to mention that Arcane Bolt with Ag Scepter can be amplified even further with Ag Shard, as each Arcane Bolt that hits, or any spell for that matter, gives you more intelligence and thus more Arcane Bolt damage. Basically, each time you cast Arcane Bolt with the Ag Scepter upgrade, you get 3 stacks of your Shield of the Scion bonus intelligence from the Ag Shard. For your talents at level 20, we grab the Ancient Seal increased magic damage because it amplifies everyone's output on that one specific target, so it's very good value. And at level 25, we opt for the extra Mystic Flare damage because it helps with your damage scaling deep into the late game where everyone's health and magic resistances are especially high. So that should be a good baseline on how to play, build, and win, hopefully, as Skywrath Mage. Always check in game for the most up-to-date item guide and my pinned comment below for any notes and corrections regarding the latest patch. Before you go, here are some final tips courtesy from howdoiplay.com. Arcane Bolt gives vision as it travels. This is useful when enemies are in fog of war, as you can use the brief vision before impact to maybe get in another auto attack if the enemy is hiding in trees or on high ground. The vision provided by Arcane Bolt on impact can also help land a concussive shot, since concussive can only fly to heroes if you have vision on them. Your Mystic Flare also doesn't damage illusions, so you can cast it in a group of Phantom Lancers or Naga Sirens to actually see which one is the real hero, aka the one who's losing health. Ag Scepter multicast also bypasses things like Lincoln Sphere or Lotus Orb. Since heroes are prioritized as secondary targets, you can fairly reliably cast Ancient Seal on solo heroes with Lincolns by casting the silence on maybe a nearby creep. Alrighty, that's it. Don't forget, if you see a heart in the comments, from the comment section, that's me suggesting that it's a helpful tip to maybe play the hero even better, or something I forgot. If you enjoyed my Dota builds in game for the past 11 years, or want me to make more videos, maybe support me on Patreon or on Twitch, subscribing to me, or even saying super thanks on this video somewhere around this. I don't know where you can do that, but try it out. With your help, I'll be able to keep making more guides and properly afford editors to pump out more helpful content. So would love the support. Thanks so much.